You can manage templates two ways, locally and globally. Locally is specific to the site collection. You can create site and list templates from existing sites or lists so you can reproduce those items in other locations. If you have something that works for you, why recreate the wheel? Save it as a template and you can keep reusing it and consuming it. Templates allow you to build useful sites quickly from existing pieces. When you create a template, SharePoint adds it to the local site collection in the Solution Gallery. To make a template available to other site collections, in other words, to deploy it globally across all site collections, there are some tasks you must do ahead of time. You can download the template that's been created from a third party, or create the template based on an existing site. You may have a site that's already set up, for instance, a project site that you want to keep using over and over again for additional projects. Copy the file to the server as you will need it locally to import it to deploy globally. Use the STS-ADM add template command to deploy it to the farm. It is important to include version information in site template file names and titles. That makes it possible to track changes to the templates over time and helps ensure that the current template is in use. Creating site collections. By default, site owners can create sites. Administrators can create site collections. The difference is site owners create new sites within site collections, and SharePoint administrators create site collections from central administration. This means that users can create new sites, but only SharePoint admins can create new site collections. There are a couple of reasons for this difference. Unlike sites, site collections have unique storage, security, and search scopes. Because site collections are more complicated, you need to understand more about how SharePoint works when creating site collections. Each new site collection has SharePoint groups that are independent. They have unique SharePoint groups associated with them. The SharePoint groups that exist in one site collection will not exist in another site collection. You must add members to these groups after creating the site collection. Each new site collection has the following default groups: visitors, which has read-only access; members can only contribute; and owners have full control of that site and any site subsites below it. The site collection administrators are automatically added to the owners group, so you primarily need to add members to the visitors and members group. You can also add navigation. Site collections have unique navigation. Site collections don't inherit navigation settings from the top-level site. You'll usually want to add the following navigation links so that users can get back to the top-level site and over to other site collections easily. On all the sites within the site collection, you may choose to have a link that will be displayed that will take users to the top-level site or to the intranet from whatever site collection they happen to be in. You can also add tabs to the link bar. And that is not limited to just tabs that will link you to other locations within that site collection. It can be to external site collections also. One of the features of SharePoint is the ability for self-service site management. This allows users to create site collections. By default, site collections can only be created from central admin. However, you can allow users to create site collections from within the web application by enabling self-service site management. This feature enables members of the top-level site collection to create new site collections. This process adds a link to the announcement web part on the root site of the site collection. If it doesn't already exist, you would just add that web part. You can control whether Designer is enabled for users to make changes to their sites. You can manage SharePoint Designer, whether it's enabled or not. A couple of the options that are available. Is it even going to be enabled for use? You can enable it or disable it. If it's disabled, SharePoint Designer will not be allowed to be used to modify any sites. One of the options is master page changes. Are you going to allow users to change the master page? That depends on your organization's policy. Do you want to have a consistent look and feel for all of the sites within the site collection. And it really depends on the type of site. If it's a team site, you might want to let the teams determine how they want that to be represented. But if it's your corporate intranet, you would want a consistent look and feel all the way through. Configuring automatic site deletion. This is something you're definitely going to want to configure for your farm. You certainly don't want sites sitting out there with inactivity that haven't been used for 6 months, a year, just taking up space and utilizing resources. Sites can be deleted after inactivity. Notice it says can. You can turn this on, but it doesn't automatically mean that they will be deleted. That is an additional option. It will send out alerts that the site is to be deleted, and you can choose after so many alerts that the site gets deleted regardless. Let's work a little bit with site templates. There are 2 types of templates that we're going to do. First of all, we're going to create a template and then save it to the solution gallery in the site collection. And that's referred to as a sandbox solution. So it'll have some limitations on the resources that it'll be allowed to utilize because it's specific to one site collection. Then we're going to take that same template and we're going to deploy it globally so any site collection can consume it for use. So first of all, we're going to take our IT site, for instance. We're going to save this as a specific team site. So if we click on it, let's make a couple changes to it so that it'll stand out. Let's go to Site Actions, Site Settings, and we're just going to change the theme to give it a different look. Let's go with Summer and click Apply. And then from our site settings, we can create the template. Under Site Actions, we're going to choose Save Site as Template. The file name is going to be Company Team Template. However, the name and description is going to be different because when we go to create a new site based on this template, we don't need it to say template, we just need it to have a name. We're going to type Company Team. And then Company Team Template. We're going to choose not to include content and tell it OK. It finished creating it successfully, and we're going to go to the Solution Gallery to view the template. Notice that we do have it available along with Project Template. If we wanted to utilize this, and we can tell that it's a solution template for one thing, it is in the solution store, and it gives you the usage. We haven't had any points utilized since we've included these templates, and I think only one is in place at this point. So let's go create a site based on our new template. I'm going to go to Site Actions, New Site. This is going to be the sales team site, where they collaborate on different items that are pertinent to their department. And we could use a basic team site, but we're going to come over to our Custom tab, where all of our templates that are not out of the box are stored, and choose Company Team Template. We'll use the same permissions as the parent, and we'll just go with the defaults and click Create. And now you can see we have our new template, and it's got the same theme that we had applied to the template when we saved it. Now this was only available to this site collection. Let's go back to Central Administration and create another site collection just to verify that this isn't going to be available. So we're going to click Application Management, Create Site Collection, and we're going to call this Team Sites. Give it a description. Oops. And we're just going to call it Team for the URL. Notice when I click on Custom for Site Collection, there's nothing here. Shortly we will have something here, but we're not to that point yet. So we're going to click Collaboration, Team Site, assign a primary site collection administrator, and a secondary. Notice that our standard quota, because the web application does have a quota applied as a default, we're going to go with that and then click OK. Okay, it has now been created successfully. Before we click OK, let's go to the site collection by following the link that's provided. Notice it's Team, Sites, Team. And if we go to our solution gallery by going to Site Actions, Site Settings, you'll notice we have no templates. The template that we loaded in the other site collection was specific to just that site collection. And if I go to Site Actions and choose New Site, I don't have a custom tab over here because there are no custom templates available to this site collection. But that's about to change. Let's go back to our Sales Team site. We need to get to this site collection because what we're going to do is we're going to take that site template, go to top level. We're not at the top level and we need to be there to see that gallery, the solution gallery. We're going to download that solution to the local server so that we can deploy it globally. That's one of the steps that need to be completed. So we're going to click on the Company Team Template link and choose Save. And we'll keep it the same name that it's got. And save. And then close out this window. Okay, now that we've saved the solution, the template, on our local server, let's go ahead and deploy it to the farm. To do that, we're going to go to Start, Command Prompt. I'm going to back out so we have a clean working space. And we're going to type stsadm-help. If we wanted to perform the function, we would type O for operation and then the command. But let's choose Add Solution just to get some information regarding the solution and what parameters are required. Anything that's not in brackets is required. If it's in square brackets, it's optional. So for this purpose, we're going to type stsadm-o add solution file name, and then wherever you have the solution stored. And then click OK. This is going to add it to the global solution gallery for the farm. So it'll be available to all site collections if we choose to, and all web applications. Now that we've added the solution, we need to deploy the solution. Right now it's just sitting in the global gallery. It's not ready for users to consume yet. So let's type stsadm-help. The second part of deploying the solution is the deploy solution parameter. Notice the only thing that's required is deploy solution and name. However, URL, if we want it to go, we don't want it global, we want this to be specific to a particular web application, we would choose that. If we want it to be global, we'll leave that. We will not use that parameter. So let's give it a whirl. If it doesn't have everything it needs, it's going to let you know. Notice it came back and specify either immediate or local. Even though it says it's in brackets, it should be optional, it's still asking for it. So we're going to press the up arrow to get to so we don't have to retype the command. And we're going to say immediate. So the timer job is successfully created. We're going to go ahead and force that timer job to run. So we're going to type STS-ADM-O execute ADM service jobs and then press enter. It lets us know that it's currently running. If the timer job wasn't running at this point, it would force it to. Let's go back to Central Administration. And let's click in System Settings this time. This is where you would come in and look at the features that have been deployed to the farm. We're going to click Manage Farm Solutions. And you can see Company Team Template was successfully deployed. If I click on the link, I get the option to retract the solution if need be, and it lets me know what it's been deployed to. It's a global deployment, so it'll be available across the board to all site collections. So let's test that theory. Let's go create a site collection with that template. Always make sure you're in the correct web application before continuing. And this is going to be our marketing team. Notice when we were in here before, we didn't get the option for the custom tab. We do now. Let's click on it. Ah, I don't see our template there. So let's go see if it's not in here. Did it deploy it individually to the site collections? If we are in our What site are we in right now? We're in our root, so we're going to go to Home, go to the very top, and then we'll go to Site Actions, New Site. It is available in here, but it was already. Let's take it to a different site collection. And let's see, which site collection would we like to use? We'll go look at our list to make sure we get the URL right. And let's go to Sites T2. We'll go to Site Actions, New Site, and we don't see the tab here yet, and it could be the timer job hasn't replicated everything out yet. Still nothing yet. Okay, let's refresh the page. Well, let's go, hold on. Our site collection list, make sure we're in the right site collection. And then we're going to go to Site Actions, New Site, and you should have a custom tab there, Company Team Template. Okay, very good. Now that we've deployed a template, let's move forward to adding some navigation. So I'm going to click back to get back to the root of the site. Site collections don't inherit navigation settings from the top-level site by default. You usually want to add some additional navigation links so users can navigate around your environment rather smoothly. And there are times this might be a grouping of team sites, and you want to have a link at the top that'll always take them to your corporate intranet. So let's go ahead and set that up. We're going to go to Site Actions, Site Settings, and portal site connection. From here, whatever web address you enter is going to appear on every site within the site collection, so you can easily navigate around. It's recommended that this would be your company's or your organization's intranet site. And you'll want to put a name of the portal. That's what's going to be displayed on the site. And then click OK. Now that we've defined the portal, let's take a peek. We're going to click Home. And if you click the folder for the Navigate Up, you're going to see that App Dev is now available. And no matter where we go within this site collection, that's always going to be the top level option. Before it was Home, and now it's going to be your intranet. If we click on IT and click the folder, you'll see App Dev is available. Let's move on to setting it up so site owners can create site collections within their web application. And that takes some of the administrative burden off of the SharePoint administrators. To do this, we need to go to Central Administration. We'll go to Start, SharePoint Central Administration. Application Management, because this has to do with the web apps and site collections. And you'll see under the Site Collection category, Configure Self-Service Site Creation. You have to choose which web application you want to use. We only have one, so we'll go with this one. But again, make sure that you have the correct one selected and simply turn it on. And then tell it OK. So when we go back to our root site, you'll notice that we don't see a link. We need to add a web part here for announcements, and that announcements web part is going to contain a link to be able to create a site collection. So we're going to Site Actions, Edit Page, click the Insert tab on the ribbon, and choose Web Part. Simply select Announcements, and then click Add. Okay, now that we've added the announcements, let's go back to our home page. It'll ask us if we want to save. Tell it OK. And now we have a link for self-service site creation. You see that there are two here because it was enabled previously and then turned back off. Let's click on the link. And then follow the other link that's provided from the dialog window. And here you would click Title. This is going to be Legal. This makes it so it's no longer required that a SharePoint administrator creates the site. And then click Create. Select your template, of course. You would not want to enable this for everything, for instance, the intranet, but certain things like team or project sites, any of those types of web applications where you're creating multiple site collections regularly, you would want to go in and do this. And we're going to go with the default groups and click OK. And we now have our new site collection. So that has taken the responsibility off of the admins and put this on the site owners so that they can create the site collections as needed and as requested. And the process will go a lot quicker.